Hello, digital artists. I'm a traditional artist, and I've been drawing for a very long time. 5 years ago, I started drawing on a tablet. But don't leave yet. I'm summarizing. Anyways, but I'm here to give you some tips because I think you might need some. Also, because my favorite YouTuber wanted tips too. So yeah. So, as an artist, I also animate because that's really cool and it's fun. And this is one of my animations. It's pretty simple, but I want to show you what I did and like why. So there's a light right here, there's a little bit of light coming from this building. Well, I wanted that reflect off the character, so I made it come from this side, but not the entire side of the character. Also, I didn't want it to really surround it, and I have it on the top and not on the bottom. So light is a very important part, like where the light is coming from. That's very good, and background. So you still have the light coming from the same direction. It's not coming from this way because it's a side point of view. People So basically, at the beginning, oh my gosh, at the beginning, they're looking right here, okay, right at the screen. They're still looking at it. They're still looking in the same direction. So, like right here, where at the first scene where the camera was, and the light is still there, but since it's a side point of view, the light is still coming from the same area, so it is still coming from these parts. Now, I had to, make some kind of scene where it just fades out. This background I used, uh, basically this, and then I started using airbrushes like this and this. I didn't even go that deep. I kind of just went down here and start with that, and I did a little white, and then, the moon, and some of dark clouds. But you can tell it's still a rough draft animation because, the moon is not very mooning. Let's see. When, you always have to have a base, so maybe something like this or something like that. I usually always start off with the eyes. So, my kind of style of eyes would kind of just look something like this. Now, a lot of people like to use the lasso tool, and this is where you just kind of want where the color you want the part to be. And let me remove this part. And you just fill it in like that. And then it comes out like this. A lot of people like to do that because it helps them with rendering. I don't really render. I mean, I add shading and such, but I don't really render, so I'm not very good on that kind of stuff. But you can add whatever you want with the splashes of color. Maybe something like this. The lasso tool can help get into areas, and so can the magic wand. If you're using Ibis Paint, if you're using something else like Sketch of Skull, then this is probably not very helpful. And you can remove the selection when you're done. Add lighter colors if you please. See? And for me, I like to add a lot of shine into there. So, adding a little shine into everything because I'm cool like that. But you can see my point is that I a lot of times I use the lasso tool to get in, but you can see that I am flopping over words. That's what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Also, when you're drawing or animating, you want your hair to like go in a certain way. Sometimes I like my hair to look kind of look like, little bananas. So I'd like start off with something like that. And I just like cut to it, I just start other people like to use realistic hair or like anime kind of stuff, so they're just kind of going like that. Really though, hair is just like a bunch of lines. It doesn't need to be controlled. It can go as wild as you please and freestyle. And if you mess up, there's always the undo button. Unless if you're doing a challenge or something, then probably not. Let's see, what else? Ooh, so when I'm trying to blend in blush, you know, kind of the original, oh my gosh, something, like that. I would always use the blur or the smudge, like on the edges. Either one works, it's really fine. What I suggest most is to keep the blur to a good amount so it doesn't, like mix in these. So if you're having like a big brush in a really tight area, try to keep it small and go around the edges like this so you can blur that in. So it's important to know where the light is coming from and where the darkness is, because it really helps with the lighting and shading. That's really important. Blurring the blush using lasso tool. I never used vector in my life. The vector tool. I don't know why I never used it. And also in IBIS, you can see that there's a frame divider right here. This is a very cool tip if you ever want to. It's so cool. But see, you click add frame. You put it right there. You select it. Hello. And you can put the frame in. Let's see, I'm going to erase all the parts that are out of here just to show an example. But you can have like your own kind of frame. And then you see the frame divider right here, right in the corner. There's two different types. There's a select and frame divider. Select helps it change the shape, and the frame divider helps it divide. You could just go across the screen like this, and it would do something like that. So let's just say if I wanted it in half like this, and I would just erase all that. I could also do this, select it, and edit it so I can flip it around and such. You can also delete the shape. Deleting the shape makes a lot more space in it. I use that sometimes, but not a lot. And if you haven't noticed already, there's a copy and paste tool right here. This is very useful when it comes to animations and other things. And holy crap, it was insane when I figured this out. But basically, you select something like this, like the lasso tool, you copy, and then you paste it, and then you get another one. 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 And then you get anot can rotate it around, do whatever you want. It's very useful. There is a filter all the way in the back. This is the one I use a lot for, gradation, and you have the colors right here. You can change it to whatever you want and use it. There's also this one brush that I've seen people use too. Right here. The dot brush. I also use this for the thumbnail too. I've seen so many artists use this and it looks amazing. Seen people use this as their art style. But basically, some people use this to make their drawings look more cooler. They would use this as like either the entire thing or like a shading and lighting. This is not the best example, but you can see what I'm trying to come off of right here. And the light would come like this. Another brush I've seen a lot of artists use is the outline brush. I've also used this for the thumbnail too, because I'm just that cool. And, it adds a lot of character and such. I've seen some people do something cool like this where they make it seem like it's a filter. That's very cool. Other people put like stars in their background, or they outline their character with this. I'm pretty sure some people drew with this too. But that's basically all I know so far from this. From tip-wise and brushes and other things. And that's it. Bye!